We have all been scrolling through social media when we begin reading the comments. Sometimes they're hilarious, other times they're disturbing. We read them and think, wow, that person is really angry. That person is desperate for attention. How can someone be so rude to a complete stranger? You don't know anything about that person's life, yet you are attacking them. Or maybe you think, that person is obviously hurting. We've all heard the saying, hurting people hurt people. I like to say it a little differently. Hurting people try to hurt other people. But that's a conversation for another day. Here's the point. People can only hurt you with their words as much as you allow them to. Which brings me to something I learned from a friend. He's a professional public speaker who teaches people how to connect with an audience. Companies hire him to train their sales teams on building instant rapport. One morning he was flying from Chicago to New York for a speaking engagement. The night before he had packed everything and was completely prepared. Then the one thing that never happens, happened. He overslept. The only reason he woke up was because his Uber driver was blowing up his phone. He rushed out the door, jumped into the Uber, and of course traffic was terrible. He barely made his flight. Once everyone was seated, the flight attendant made an announcement. Folks, this is a short flight and it looks like most of you already grabbed coffee in the terminal, so we won't be doing beverage service today. My friend thought, great, I'll grab coffee when I land. Except that's not what happened. After landing in New York, the plane sat on the taxiway for nearly 30 minutes. Now he was panicking. He had a scheduled presentation and the event organisers kept texting him. You need to be here on time, we can't move the schedule. Finally, the plane reached the gate. He looked at the airport coffee stands. Every line was packed. He checked Uber. 30-minute wait. No chance. So he hailed a cab instead. As they drove through heavy New York traffic, he became the world's worst backseat driver. Can we take another route? What about that lane? We've got to move. The cab driver stayed calm. Then it happened. They entered an intersection on a green light when a speeding car blasted through the red light. The other driver slammed on the brakes, laid on the horn, and missed the cab by inches. Had they collided, my friend probably would have been the one injured. And unbelievably, the driver who ran the red light started screaming at the cab driver, swearing, blaming him, acting as though the accident would have been the cab driver's fault. The cab driver simply stayed calm and kept driving. A few moments later, my friend asked, "How are you so calm? That guy almost hit us. He was completely wrong and he's yelling at you like you did something wrong." The cab driver smiled, looked in the rearview mirror, and said something my friend has never forgotten. Everyone's looking for a place to dump their garbage. My friend said, "That's interesting. Tell me what you mean." The driver explained that years earlier, when he first became a cab driver, he had been driving behind a garbage truck. When the truck stopped, the back suddenly opened and dumped garbage all over the front of his cab. The truck drove away. He jumped out furious. He yelled. He cursed. He started throwing garbage off the hood with his hands. Now he had trash all over himself. Then, in his anger, he started pounding on the hood of his cab and hurt his own hand. When he finally looked up, he noticed two elderly women standing on a nearby porch, quietly watching him shake his fist and throw a tantrum. Embarrassed, he climbed back into the cab. He threw it into reverse and stomped on the gas pedal. The remaining garbage slid right off the hood. And in that moment, he realised something. He never needed to get out. He never needed to get angry. He never needed to make the situation worse. All he had to do was back up and let the garbage fall away. The driver looked in the rearview mirror at my friend and said, "People dump their emotional garbage everywhere they go. Anger, bitterness, jealousy, frustration. If you stop and pick it up, it becomes your garbage too. But if you simply back up and move on, it falls away." 2 minutes later, they arrived at the conference. My friend suddenly realised. He had been worried all morning because he didn't have the perfect opening story for his presentation. Now he did. He thanked the driver, left him a generous tip, and walked inside. The organisers met him backstage. "You're just in time. You've got about 3 minutes. Would you like a cup of coffee?" He smiled. "Absolutely." He grabbed his coffee, walked onto the stage, told that story, and received a standing ovation. So the next time you're scrolling through X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or you witness someone in public having a meltdown filled with anger, insults, or hate, Remember the cab driver's advice. Everyone is looking for a place to dump their garbage. You have two choices. You can stop, argue, and wear some of their garbage yourself, or you can simply back up and drive away.